Deputy Chair Bianca Sandri and Commissioner Kath Hart. David has more than 50 years of experience, predominantly in planning and more recently as the Chair of the West Australian Planning Commission. He was also a Nedlands Deputy Mayor and Councillor for 6 years in the 90s, so knows the area well. Most recently, Bianca was the Director of Community Services at the City of Bayswater and was a City of Stirling Councillor for 6 years. Kath is the former CEO of REWA and Executive Director of the Housing Industry Association. With extensive experience in management and leadership roles across the public and private sectors, I am confident that these three commissioners will deliver the good governance the City of Nedlands needs. The appointment of the three commissioners officially takes effect on Friday. At that time, the remaining 4 council positions, including that of the Mayor, will be declared vacant. The commissioners will carry out the responsibilities of the council from that time until a special election is held and a new council is formed. The special election for the City of Nedlands will be held on the 28th of March 2026. The March election ensures sufficient time for the Commissioners and the WA Electoral Commission to progress the arrangements that are necessary to conduct a full council election. There are many capable and highly qualified West Australians who call the City of Nedlands home, and I would urge them to consider nominating to serve their community as a councillor at next year's election. And I certainly urge all Nedlands ratepayers to vote at the March election to ensure a functioning and stable local government, one that they can rely on. I will now ask the Chair of Commissioners, David Caddy, to say a few words and then I'll take questions. Thanks, David.
Thank you very much, Minister. I'd just like to assure everyone that the three commissioners are committed to bringing trust and integrity back into the governance system in the City of Nedlands. We have a huge task ahead of us. We are going to act as the elected council until the 28th of March, and we do at this stage, until we get sworn in on Friday, of course, we haven't got our feet under the desk yet. Our first priority, of course, is going to be to adopt a budget for the forthcoming year for the City of Nedlands, and then to look at the Audit and Risk Management Committee and the findings of the Auditor General that still need to be tidied up. So, as I say, it's a huge task. We are committed to this particular task and we look forward to undertaking the role. So I'd like to thank you very much and thank you, Minister.
Thank you, David. Any questions?
How much does this cost?
Sure. So it's roughly reflective of the sitting fees of a council for that period of time. So it is commensurate with what is in budget scope already.
So there's not been any extra to appoint the commissioners and go through that process?
No, so like I said, it is reflective of the sitting fees of the council. There may be some variance around those fees, but it is reflective of that number.
Have you had any conversations or communications with Fiona Argyle since you announced you were going to appoint commissioners?
No, I haven't.
No emails, no correspondence?
No, not that I've seen.
Well, you would have seen it because I'm just asking if it's your communication.
No, I haven't communicated with the Mayor.
She's put out a statement this morning.
Yeah.
The now sacked Mayor. She says that she was elected 2 times by a popular vote of the community and have been rolled by the state government for doing her job, protecting an A-class nature reserve from property developers. And she says the minister's claim that she is being investigated is baseless unless she failed to inform her. What do you make of that statement this morning?
Sure. So the appointment of the commissioners is a result of the resignation of those 4 council members, which meant that the council lost quorum, which meant that under the Act, I'm obligated to put in commissioners to ensure that the council can operate and make decisions that are necessary for the ratepayers. So there has been no rolling here. It has been a following of the Act and the procedures of the Act.
Well, she takes the view that she's been got at by the state government. I mean, that's effectively it. Well, how do you respond to that?
The Mayor is entitled to her views. I've been following the procedures under the Act.
You mentioned an investigation by the state government into the council in a previous press conference.
Yes.
Can you tell us what's the status of that?
So that is being finalised as we speak as an internal investigation that's been conducted by the department.
Is that into public?
Internal investigations don't usually become public, but it will be used by the commissioners to inform their work.
Is that into Mayor Argyle, former Mayor Argyle herself?
I haven't. It hasn't been finalised yet. I have not seen it.
When did that investigation start?
A number of months ago, I believe.
Do you have the exact month that it started?
I believe it was May.
But if the investigation started, who's it into?
So that's the department decides that scope as they go in and assess what's happening at the city.
Well, yeah, but if they've been doing it for months, they must know what they're investigating.
I'm sure that they do, but I haven't seen the investigation. So that will come to me in due course. And I have been in the constant conversations with the department about how that is progressing, and it has been progressing well to date.
So you've been, you've been in constant conversation with the department, but you're now saying to me that you don't know what it's about.
I believe that it is a broad investigation. So you're asking me for the details of what has been discovered. I'm not going to give you those because I don't have them.
I'm not asking what's been discovered. I'm asking who's actually under investigation, what's actually under investigation.
It was the investigation was around the functioning of the council, how they were operating, the behaviours that were on display, and how that was affecting good governance at the council.
And what sparked it?
Sorry?
What sparked that investigation then? Can you talk to it?
The-
Argyle says it's baseless.
The ongoing dysfunction. So for quite some time, the city hasn't been able to meet quorum. They've had issues with members walking out of meetings and then losing quorum. That kind of dysfunction and lack of good governance has been on display for quite some time. That investigation was warranted due to the behaviours that were on public display at council meetings.
So something that you saw was happening and thought an investigation's needed here, or something ratepayers saw and brought to your attention?
I think everybody saw the dysfunction that was on display, and it is normal procedural work for the department to address dysfunction through internal investigation.
What are the provisions under the Act for an investigation to be made public? Don't the ratepayers of Nedlands deserve to know what is found?
So this is an internal departmental investigation. It's not an inquiry under the Act.
When do you anticipate that report would be made final and be able to be handed?
I believe it's forthcoming in the next few weeks.
Why did you decide to go on the path of an internal investigation as opposed to an inquiry which could produce a report that could be made public?
Well, it's in my view, in terms of providing natural justice, it would be an investigation that would then lead to an inquiry. So that would provide the grounds for an inquiry if grounds were found.
Is that your understanding, that the results of that internal investigation will lead to an inquiry?
I'm not going to preempt the results of that investigation. Often investigations don't lead down that pathway. Investigations are part of the normal procedures of the department in their regulatory role.
You've got 3 councillors and the mayor who from Friday will be stood down because of this. In the upcoming election, will they be able to recontest their seats?
Yep, they have the democratic right to put their hands up again in March. I would encourage them to use this time, as I've said previously, to reset and reflect on their behaviours and decision making to date, and if it's the best course of action for them to renominate.
Would you make of other staff members leaving? A councillor said that over 70 administration has left over the past 18 months. Do you have any comment on that?
I think that's a very concerning attrition rate, and it is part of the role of the commissioners to work with the administration to ensure good governance of the administration itself as well.
When did you first hear about the administration leaving at this rate? Was it earlier on?
No, it's increasingly come to light as the dysfunction has grown at the City of Nedlands. And like I've said, I've been concerned about them for quite some time, which is very many multiple of months.
Since July 7, has there been any communication with the CEO?
Not by me, no. I believe that there was communication between the City and the department on an administrative matter.
Is it as per the Act for the mayor to be sacked in addition to the remaining councillors?
The mayor is a council position, so it is declared vacant just like any other council position. It's not a sacking. This is what happens procedurally under the Act when you appoint commissioners, and those council positions are declared vacant.
How about the CEO? How will she work in this new environment?
So the CEO works as normal and the commissioners act as the council. So the CEO works with commissioners just as they would work with a council.
You've appointed 3 commissioners. That's a little unusual, as I understand understand it, in these sort of circumstances. Can you explain why 3 have been brought in?
Look, it's not unusual at all. These 3 individuals are incredibly well credentialed, and there's a lot of work to do in a relatively short space of time. And the experience that they bring is incredibly complementary. So I think that gives us the best chance to achieve better outcomes for the City of Nedlands with more sort of firepower and knowledge behind the work that needs to be done.
Will each commissioner have a different focus? Like, will one be finances, one maybe be, for example, governance? Is it kind of being divided up like that, or how will they work as a team?
So these 3 commissioners will work as a team, absolutely, and they function as a council. So each of them has their roles as a councillor. It is up for them if they want to play to their strengths and concentrate on certain issues. As they get their feet under the table, I'm sure that they'll have those conversations amongst themselves.
Does that mean that those council, are they run as meetings like a standard council meeting, and the decisions and the justifications are kept in minutes and disclosed?
Yeah, absolutely. So because the commissioners are essentially council, all of that sort of work and expectations will be met. So there will be public council meetings. There'll be public question time at those council meetings. It will just look like you've got 3 new councillors rather than their councillors that have been sitting in those seats.
What's the first order of business for the 3?
As David has already pointed to, probably the number 1 is passing the budget. So, we're absolutely due in local government land for all of our budgets to be passed, and that is what the 3 commissioners' number 1 will be.
What is the latest date that local governments, including the City of Nedlands, can set rates and adopt its annual budget, and will a special extension be given to the City of Nedlands?
Sure, I'm confident that the budget will be passed in order to meet all of the timeframes that are necessary. There's, in terms of passing rates and what have you, they are usually done by the end of the month.
Are you grateful to those 4 councillors who put in their resignations and forced you to act?
Look, I think that they made the decision that was right for them, and I'm certainly grateful for the opportunity to appoint 3 exceptional commissioners to go in and ensure stability and good governance at the City of Nedlands.
How big is the task ahead for these 3 commissioners, and are you confident they can deliver and get Nedlands back on track before that election in March?
The task is not insignificant. I know that the 3 commissioners are very well aware of that, and it's one of the reasons that we have 3 commissioners because of that task ahead. But I'm very confident. I am very pleased that we've got people of the calibre of the 3 individuals behind us who are willing to take on a task such as getting the City of Nedlands on the right footing.
The Nedlands Deputy Mayor is asking for them to stay for perhaps a year. How long do you envisage that they will remain at Nedlands for?
So we're following the provisions of the Act. So are you talking in terms of the commissioners to stay for a year?
Commissioners to stay for a year, yeah.
So it is under the provisions of the Act, so we are limited by that. So the March 28th date is set sort of under the wording of the Act, which is to hold an election as soon as is practicable. So in consultation with the WAEC, the 28th of March date was determined.
I'm assuming there's a cost to this, including the cost to pay the Commissioner and the Commissioners, the Chief Commissioner. Is that a cost borne by the ratepayers? Is that where the funding is coming from, or the state government?
There is no extra cost in terms of these commissioners. As I've said previously, the cost of this reflects the sitting fees of the council members. So it is very comparable to the costs that would be associated with the council proceeding as a council rather than commissioners.
And what are they? What are the sitting fees?
So in total, for the time that that these 3 commissioners will be at the City of Nedlands, there's a total of around $255,000, with possibly some variance around fees.
And that's fees to the 3 commissioners?
That's fees to the 3 commissioners.
Do you consider that to be basically a full-time commitment then?
So they act as councillors. So and there is work to do, and there is a decent commitment. I think that it is much more outcomes based than in terms of what you need to actually put in terms of hours.
Is there a cost to that special election? It's an additional cost?
It's not an additional cost. It would just be the same as if the election was held in October, but it's being held in March.
Was it not feasible to do the Nedlands election with the other local government elections in October?
No, it wasn't. In terms of the timeframes that need to be met in terms of passing budgets, which would include the cost of an election, as well as the notification period that was necessary to the WAEC, it wasn't possible.
What happens to the salaries of the 3 councillors and the mayor
So they are no longer councillors as of Friday, so they don't get paid as councillors as of Friday.
Can I ask you about another troubled council?
Sure, can I just give these lovely commissioners opportunity to not stand behind me as you ask me other things?
Sorry, unless anyone else has got...
I just have one question for the Commissioner.
For the Commissioner? Chief Commissioner, absolutely.
The Minister mentioned issues from the Auditor General's report that needed to be tidied up. Can you just outline broadly what they may be?
Thank you. There was a finding against the City of Nedlands by the Auditor General, and I believe that that particular finding is in the order of 15 months old and has still yet to be addressed. So it's all revolving around the creation of the Audit and Risk Committee, which is probably our second priority.
Will you be bringing in, as per the Auditor General's recommendations, investigators to look into those matters?
Look, really, until we get sworn in on Friday and understand the extent of that particular issue, it's very hard to say.
Do you feel like you have enough resources, given with that audit, the AG found that not all of the resources in regards to Nedlands finances were provided to the audit? Are you concerned that when you actually get to see the full scope of what's happened at Nedlands that you might need more resources?
I'm very concerned about that, yes. And we may need resources, and we may need to source those from the private sector.
So when will the first council meeting with the new commissioners be held?
We will determine that once we've been sworn in on Friday.
Are you able to have more resourcing, and will you be speaking with the Minister if you do need additional resourcing in regards to the finances?
We will be able to, once we're appointed, so we are the council, then we will be able to source extra resources through the council funds, through the budget.
Former councillor Hodson said the council needed to repair its relationship with the state government, particularly over the hospice matter. How's your relationship with the state government? And yeah, will you be putting in, I guess, a diary to really, that relationship? Yeah.
Well, I have very strong relationships with the state government at the moment, as do the three of us, and I'm sure we're going to use those to our benefit. The issue with the hospice has been put to bed, pardon the pun, but essentially the state government has taken care of that issue at the moment. It's no longer on the council agenda.
Are you confident that the council can meet its financial obligations?
I am confident that it can, yes.
How are you feeling heading into Friday? I know you said you haven't had a chance to get your feet under the desk yet and get a gauge of the scope, but what emotions are you feeling heading into it?
At the moment, it's one of being able to actually understand what the issues are. And until we get into that council chamber, until we can actually address the agenda for the last council meeting, there have been 2 meetings which haven't been able to achieve quorum. Once we can actually get our heads around those particular matters on the agenda, then it'll be far easier to answer questions like that.
Do you have a message for ratepayers?
I am looking forward to the three of us being able to bring trust and integrity back into the governance system at the City of Nedlands.
You, I think, former deputy mayor of Nedlands.
Correct, Jeff.
Is anyone going to turn around and accuse you of conflict of interest?
I wouldn't think so. That was 30-something years ago, and I no longer live in the City of Nedlands.
Happy to be back? Nostalgia?
Very happy to assist in building up the confidence in the City of Nedlands amongst the ratepayers.
And are you happy to have the CEO continue in that position? Because that's an important position, and we're talking about, adverse findings from the Office of the Auditor General and dysfunction. Are you okay with having her still in the role?
Look, Jeff, we've yet to meet with the CEO. That won't happen until Friday morning. And once we've had a meeting with the CEO and we can actually, as I said earlier, understand the enormity of the issues that we're facing, then I'd be able to answer those questions.
Given you are unelected representatives, what opportunity will ratepayers have in, given about their, speaking about their issues with the city, how will they go about communicating with that?
Thank you. The ratepayers will have access to the three of us as if we were and are councillors. So nothing will change in that regard. In terms of the council meetings, there will be public question time. and ratepayers again will be able to talk to the council while we're sitting as a council.
Wonderful. Thanks, David.
Thank you.
The Minister will take issues of the day.
Everyone's phone's on silent. Just double check the big bin halfway through it right there.
Escape the grilling.
Minister, another troubled council, Coolgardie's got a massive debt. Have you given any consideration to putting commissioners into that operation?
Look, I've been very public about my concern for the Shire of Coolgardie, particularly around its finances, which have been allowed to get in this state for quite some time. In Coolgardie, we have local solutions that may be available to us. It doesn't meet the threshold, the same threshold as is here, has happened in Nedlands in terms of quorum, in terms of appointing commissioners. So I'm hoping to be able to land on a locally driven solution that will be better for the community of Coolgardie, between the Shire of Coolgardie and the City of Kalgoorlie-Boulder working together.
Well, one of those solutions seems to be a merger between those two local government areas. I understand Coolgardie's considering fighting any moves through the courts. If you go that way, does that worry you?
Look, I saw that from the Shire of Coolgardie. I would think, given that their financial situation, that they would have better things to spend their money on.
Do you have a view about whether consultation with the ratepayers is necessary?
Look, whatever pathway we go down, including a boundary adjustment, if that is the solution that is chosen in the end, will involve community consultation. So there has been some sort of misrepresentation that community consultation will not occur, and it will.
You're considering mergers as a panacea for a council being in financial difficulties. There's quite a number of smaller councils that have financial problems. Why not go that extra step, or would you consider going that extra step and maybe not amalgamating in the same way that the Liberal government wanted to do, but there's certainly some councils that could be absorbed?
But I also just need to make really clear that under the Act, this is not an amalgamation, it is a boundary adjustment. The viability of our local councils, particularly in our smaller local councils in the regions, is an issue that I am very alive to. Most of them are very viable and very sustainable. But that is something that we're working through, and is also something that I'm looking forward to another aspect of the inspectorate coming online next year, because I believe that as part of our panel of monitors, which are to go in and help local governments, will also include people who can provide expertise around financial management and options, if that's what's necessary.
What's the difference between an amalgamation and a boundary adjustment?
So under the Act, they are two sort of very different things, and a lot of the, in terms of this, is just because one entity is adjusting the boundaries, only affecting one other. So therefore it's classified as a boundary adjustment. It's not affecting multiple local government areas.
So, but that boundary adjustment would see some of those councillors, because you double the number of councillors or whatever it is, they would just disappear, and Kalgoorlie-Boulder would take responsibility for whatever falls within that new boundary?
That's the sort of solutions and options that we're working through at the moment. If that ends up being the case, as it has been discussed with the City of Kalgoorlie-Boulder and the Shire of Coolgardie, there would still need to be local sort of services and footprint in Coolgardie to ensure that that community is being well served.
So just to be clear, more broadly, you're not closing the door on potential amalgamations for, say, small regional councils that might be struggling in the future?
My door is always open for locally driven solutions.
So I seem to think that you said that you're quite interested in doing that.
Oh, look, if shires and towns are coming to me with solutions that may involve boundary adjustments or shared services or shared staff or anything like that, my door is always open, and we do have a really innovative and active sector in the local government sector. So I think now that publicly I've said on the record a number of times that my door is open, we may see more options come through that might not necessarily be amalgamations or boundary adjustments. There's lots of levers that are available through the Act that can ensure the viability of particularly of the smaller local councils.
Is that a concession or acknowledgement that there are too many local government areas, particularly in the country?
We do have a lot of local government areas. That's a fact. But it is, on the whole, a really good, well-functioning sector, and that's one of the reasons why I'm pleased to appoint the commissioners at the City of Nedlands, because of the dysfunction that had been happening at the City of Nedlands, really did affect the reputation of the whole sector. And given the fact that we do have 137 mainland local governments, the vast majority of which are doing the right thing and have their community at the heart, it is necessary to ensure that stable government and good government is everywhere, to ensure that the uplift and the appropriate level of good reputation that the sector deserves.
What did you make of the Barnett government's proposal to sort of mass amalgamate from a top-down level?
Well, I think it's widely acknowledged that it was mishandled.
Would you rule out the state government sort of coming in and overruling councils in that way in your term of government?
I don't plan to mishandle anything.
The City of South Perth have voted 4 votes to 3 to remove 6 tiny trees that were planted in June last year because some residents thought that once they developed and matured they would ruin their multi-million-dollar views. Do you agree with the Mayor that this sets an precedent that's kind of hard to manage, whether you're going to remove trees every time some residents have a problem or you'll do it for some residents and not others?
Look, our tree canopy in Perth is a live issue, and I'm pleased that local governments are alive to it as well. Those are the sorts of issues that do need to go through sort of planning stages, but I know that most of our local councils, and certainly myself, are committed to improving tree canopy in all the ways that we can.
What do you make of that when you heard that 6 little trees that were planted last year were ripped up?
You're the first person to tell me, so thanks for the briefing. Yeah.
It's going to cost around $30,000 to remove them and replant them. Do you think that passes the pub test in terms of what ratepayer dollars should be going towards?
I think that's a really interesting question, and it is absolutely one for the elected members of that council because they are accountable for those funds.
The recent council records have revealed the outgoing Shire of Bridgetown Greenbush's CEO Nicole Gibbs has received a termination payout of over $173,000. That's on top of her over $191,000 salary. Do you think a 6-figure payout like that is appropriate for a termination?
I think whatever the termination payment was contractual. So that had been agreed as part of the contract process ahead of time. So whatever is in a contract, it becomes an entitlement to that individual.
One of the councillors also put forward a request that there be a policy on planting trees in public land by the start of next year. Is that something you support to avoid situations like this happening after the fact?
Oh, look, the local councils, they're autonomous levels of government. If they wish to do something like that in their area, as long as it passes all of the delegated legislation committee rules around local laws, then they're entitled to do so.
Last question, anyone? Oh, good. Wonderful.
Fantastic. Thanks. Thank you.
All right, commissioners, let's get a photo or